Hey guys, this is Pete Thompson, Kalamazoo Chinese Martial Arts Club. Another video today in our glorious quarantine. Been asked to go over the Xingyi 5 elements form. So we'll probably be taking those one by one, and at the end, hopefully able to show the linking form again. I don't have a cameraman, so that might not happen, but we'll at least have the separate parts, separate techniques. Before I get into any of that, I wanted to talk for a moment on stance work and stepping in our Xingyi. And really, most of this is going to be throughout all of our arts, our Xingyi, our Baji, Tai Chi, even our Shaolin. So within the 5 elements form, most of the stance work is a 60-40, 70-30, weighted on the back foot. Foot is turned out at about a 40-degree or 45-degree angle. Front foot is pointing straight, so we have this kind of angled, bladed stance. A little bit of a bend, not terribly deep generally, although you certainly can be. And although this is the stance, we can play around with the stance with these movements a little bit. But the big thing I wanted to talk about is not so much the stance, but the stepping. When I see people do Xingyi, and again, really when I see people do all sorts of things, one of the biggest faults is that they turn their foot and then they step. So if I were to be stepping in the Xingyi, see them stepping to that 45 and stepping through. Bring that foot up, stepping to the 45, stepping through. To the 45, and then stepping through. Now the reason this is a problem is that there are just 3 fundamental ways we're going to be deriving our force for whatever we're doing. There's dropping or rising. You'll often hear me refer to this as bobbing jing, because within our style I usually drop down to rebound that force back up. There is that linear straight drive, which we're going to be getting with that step, and then there's rotationary force. And so if I step with that foot rotated and then step through, I have that nice linear force. I can have a good bobbing force, but I really have very minimal rotationary force. Instead, if I step straight, so again, my hips parallel, like we talked about in some of our previous videos, and as I step through, it's almost like the chicken step here from Bagua. As I step through, this foot passes, I begin to rotate. I'm able to get all 3 forces into my movement. I particularly like Xingyi to work on this, particularly the 5 elements drills, because again, I'm just drilling back and forth. There's not a whole lot of complexity in terms of stance work, which lets me dial in on this. But again, this is something we want to take into our Tai Chi, we want to take it into our Baji, we want to take it into our Shaolin. That's about it on stepping. Hope you'll join me for the next video on Xingyi metal or slicing, the first of the 5 elements.